Good evening and welcome to Not the Show. I'm Joe.
I'm Mondo. What's up, buddy? I'm good, man.
Yeah, me too.
Man, it's been a year and 3 months since I've talked to you.
Yes, it is. It was beginning of June, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last year, beginning of June.
Last year, beginning of June, we talked about Mad Max, Fury Road.
That's right. We had a very special episode where we did nothing but talk about one thing.
Yeah.
This is going to be the opposite of that. I think we're going to just kind of get back into it a little bit and talk about what we might do going forward.
Yeah, and there's also a bunch of things I want to touch on.
That's cool too.
Yeah, and also, for those of you listening at home, it really hasn't been like a year and like some odd months since we've spoken. It's just been a year and some odd months since we've gotten together and done this podcast.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that was.
We talked recently.
We have, of course.
The other day.
Yeah. You want to
do another podcast?
Yeah, you plug that. You could plug that.
All right, yeah, let's plug that. We're doing 2 new podcasts, both of which are specific, unlike this show. There's the American Gods Cast, where we're discussing the novel and upcoming Starz television show American Gods by Neil Gaiman. And that's already, by the time you hear this, you'll be able to listen to episodes 1. Episode 2, actually, we're recording this Sunday, the 11th, and episode 2 will be up tomorrow. Chapter 2, because we're doing the book. So chapter 2 will actually be up tomorrow. And the other podcast we're doing is the Beamcast, which is our Dark Tower podcast, which you can find on Discordia 19. The American Godscast you can find on AmericanGodscast.net. And Beamcast you can find on Discordia 19. Yeah, subscribe to both of them. Listen to them. Give us ratings and reviews. Write to us. We'll give you links for all that crap at the end of the show, like the tweeting at us.
Yeah, we're still waiting for iTunes approval on Beamscast. We only have the episodes up at the site at discordia19.com, but it's not on iTunes yet. It's coming. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to learn how to post these to Google. Google does podcasts now too, don't they?
Yes, I did it for American Godscast.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to since I'm in charge of this one and the other one, I'm gonna have to do it for those 2.
Also, you can find American Godscast on link. Man, I keep saying LinkedIn. It's not on LinkedIn.
No, that would be getting a job.
Yes, Tune in. We'll have to put these other ones on TuneIn as well. This way, you can say things like, Alexa, play American Godscast on TuneIn. She's not going to do it. See, she goes straight to. She goes, because I have American Gods on my thing, man. She just gives me American Gods. She doesn't listen to me. Alexa, stop. That's something that's happened over the past year. I got Amazon Echo.
Yeah, I have one too.
I know. I liked yours, so I got my own.
Yeah, it's very cool.
This is my Christmas gift to myself.
Yeah, it's neat. I was at my mom's yesterday, and JoJo was playing with hers, and he was adding things to her shopping lists like poop. Alexa, add poop to mom's shopping list. Stuff like that.
I just muted mine so that we could talk about it more without me accidentally ordering anything.
Yeah, but then anybody listening in their rooms, they end up like with lists of things going on.
Yeah, but that's funny.
It is, I suppose.
Like I was telling my mother, I ordered on Amazon Prime Day. I ordered the Cuisinart Griddler. It was on sale because it was Prime Day, and I was just like, at first I was just like, man, that would be handy. I'm not going to buy one, but that would, it's nice. And then it was like, if you use your Amazon Echo to purchase it, you get like an additional $10 off. And I was like, man, that might be too cheap to pass up. So I came home for lunch and I said, Alexa, order me a Cuisinart Griddler, and she did. And I was like, man, that's awesome. And then later that day, I was telling my mom about it. I'm just like, we live in the future. I just said, Alexa, order a Cuisinart Griddler, and she did. And I heard her go, boop. And I was like, I may have just ordered another one.
Yep, you may have just ordered one for everyone that's listening too.
Yeah, I had to take it out of my living room because of what's his name, the guy from The Hunt for Red October and 30 Rock, Alec Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
he does those Alexa commercials, and I used to have her in my living room, and he'd always be like, Alexa, what's this or this? And my Alexa would be like, answer. And I'd be like, man, Alec Baldwin, you're killing me.
I had mine in my bedroom for a while, and I moved it in. Once I moved here, which is my new place, I moved it to my kitchen because my kitchen's kind of in the same room as my living room. It's all one room here. This room, it's one big room. And something is weird with the acoustics in here. She has trouble hearing me much more than she used to. She doesn't ever go off from the TV or anything like that. I have to kind of walk up to it to make it work. I think I'm going to move it, put it somewhere else.
Yeah, either that or you can get one of those. You can get the Fire, one of the Fire things that comes with the Fire remote that has the Alexa mic in it.
I have one, yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah. Then you got to find it. Then I remember to find that remote every time I want to use it.
Yeah.
I almost ordered the Dot, which is the little tiny version of the because I wanted to put one like in my bathroom just to ask questions. But then that was the same week that Google announced that they're going to put one out, which it didn't come out yet. But so I canceled my order of the Dot, and I decided to see what Google's going to do first and see if it's better.
Yeah.
I might change out my Alexa for my Google.
I'm thinking about getting. I'm still not sure. I was thinking about getting the Tap.
That's the more portable one.
Yeah, it's the portable one, and it's more. It seems to be more of a Bluetooth speaker with Alexa in it, whereas like Alexa is the thing that does have a Bluetooth speaker in her. I mean, I put my Bluetooth to her all the time, but this seems like the same thing backwards. But yeah, it's more portable. It's there's like a docking station. You can just walk it around.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that'd be good for around the house, but also for work. Like I don't have an internet connection at work, but sometimes I don't want to use my headphones when I'm at work, especially I'm throwing boxes and stuff, and there's a lot of on Saturdays anyway. I'm doing a lot of physical labor of lifting things, and I also have to hear people. So usually I have one earbud, like I stuck it in my shirt, and I have one earbud kind of dangling. It's always getting stuck on stuff. So I was thinking I might, it'd be good to get a Bluetooth speaker, but having one that's Alexa where I can do all my Alexa stuff, because I ask her to play stuff for me on Prime all the time. I listen to my audiobooks on it. It'd be nice to be able to just move her around the house with me, bring her into the kitchen while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
This way I don't have to unplug her to bring her around. Like if I wanted to bring it into the kitchen now, I got to unplug this whole thing.
Yeah, that's kind of why I put mine in the kitchen. I was like, I can use her like for a timer when I cook things, or for that's where I'm in this room a lot, but she doesn't work very well where she is, and I don't cook things. So the things I do cook, I don't really need a timer for. I have a 7-year-old. When I ask him what he wants for dinner, his answer is either McDonald's or pasta. And these days, more pasta than anything else. All he ever wants is pasta these days. Every meal. If I let him, he'd eat pasta with every meal, with nothing else on the side, just a bowl of pasta. No sauce. He doesn't want sauce.
Wonder where he gets that from.
I don't like to take the blame for that. All kids like pasta with butter better than pasta with sauce when they're as young as he is. But
that's true. Butter's good.
But he does like sauce, and I do give him sauce because I don't want him to end up like me. So
right.
I do try and give him sauce.
Now, does he like other cakes other than pound cake?
Yeah, he'll eat birthday cake and stuff.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But he loves pound cake the best.
Pound cake is good. We're going to turn this into a cooking show for a second, man. You know what's really good? Black bean cake. Black bean chocolate cake. For my mother's birthday, I wasn't planning on making her a cake at all. Like my niece cooks. She's quite there. She was going to wind up making a cake for my mom's birthday. But then, my mom has problems with gluten. I don't know how serious the problems with gluten are, like whether or not, she actually celiacs, or if she's just reads too much stuff and she's just like, gluten is my problem. But she doesn't eat it, or she eats it sparingly.
Mm-hmm.
So someone at work was telling me about this black bean chocolate cake they made out of like black beans, like the black beans you would use in a chili or a burrito. And I was like, what? She thought it was really good. She said it was just like a regular chocolate cake, but you know, instead of using any sort of flour, you just use the black beans. So I was like, man, I'm going to look that recipe up. So I did, and it's not complicated, but it's time consuming because instead of like mixing all the things together like you normally would for a cake, there's a lot of like separating things and mixing those things before you put them all together. And the entire early process, I was very like wary. I was like, man, I don't see how this is going to work. I had all these black beans and eggs like blended, and I'm just like, man, this is black beans and eggs. This is not a cake. But son of a bitch, man, that cake was awesome. And it tasted just like a regular chocolate cake. It rose like a regular chocolate cake, tasted like chocolate cake, looked like chocolate cake. I was like, man, that was pretty good.
That's very strange.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know, cooking things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And cake. We were also talking about cake.
We were. And you know, when I moved in, my mom, like, first thing she did was she made me all this chicken, and she gave me this giant Ziploc bag full of frozen chicken cutlets. And I was like, I know I can make those. She's like, yeah, but I'm helping you out. And then about a month later, she gave me another giant bag of chicken cutlets. and so just about once a month, she shows up with more chicken cutlets for me. And so I found that Jojo and I eat a lot of plain pasta and chicken cutlets for dinner when we're here.
Yeah, that sounds good. I love chicken cutlets.
Me too. Although,
I had some for
they have a little
lunch
bread.
today.
There's a little breadcrumb there, and I don't eat much bread, but
I had a bunch of chicken cutlets for brunch today.
Brunch is cool.
Jesse made a bunch of stuff, and some of it was chicken cutlets. And man, I like chicken cutlets. But yeah, my nephew has this friend, this kid. He's I'm pretty sure he's a Hindu.
Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But when he came in, like, they offered him some food, and he said like he couldn't eat beef or pork, which is why I think he's a Hindu as opposed to Muslim Indian. His family's from India, and so I was like, oh, he's probably like, I didn't want to pry, but I was like, he's probably Hindu because like the cultural thing. But again, I didn't pry. But anyway, there was plenty of like beef and pork products, and my nephew just I don't know, he gave him a sausage. And I was just like, yeah, no, it should be fine. And the kids started eating the sausage. And then my nephew thinks to ask, he's like, hey, pork or beef in the sausage? And it's like, yeah, man, it's like, it's a pork sausage. And the kid, he spit it out. And
wow.
He wanted some water to rinse his mouth out and stuff. And, we're like, why didn't you ask first, Nate? Like, what'd you think was in there? It's like, well, he's like, it could have been chicken or turkey or something. It's like, no, well, it could have been, but you probably should have checked before giving your friend with his cultural dietary necessities, this big breakfast sausage.
Okay, so food. What else going on? I moved.
You moved.
Yeah, we talked about that. I briefly mentioned that. So yeah, I got a new place here. It's pretty cool. You lost some weight.
Yeah, I lost some weight. I put it all back on today at that brunch, but all right, not all of it, but yeah, I've been doing the low carb thing, not like not following any sort of specific plan, but just like keeping within certain limits and stuff.
Sure.
And, yeah, and I get my steps in every day.
I guess if we haven't recorded in a year, then I was just beginning to start to diet back then too. So I've lost some weight too.
Yeah, you lost a lot of weight.
I've been doing it longer. You'll get there.
Yeah, I hope so. Because, I'll tell you, my physical problems are so much better now that I've lost all this weight. I lost a bunch of weight when I started working at the post office.
Yeah, it's a physical job.
Which was great. But then, then I got a regular job at the post office as opposed to like, my support employee type position. And that regular job involves like, waiting on people at the window and selling stamps. And my job became a lot less physical. It's like, still standing all day, but not really moving the way I used to. And like, I started putting the weight back on. I was like, man, this dog won't hunt. And that's when I was like, I can't just rely on like, the little bit of physical exercise I get. Because standing all day, sometimes I'm too tired to like want to exercise or something. I mean, my job's tiring. It's not very physical anymore, but it's tiring, especially since I hate people. Like, like not individual people, but like, general, I hate people.
I can see how I can see how that would be exhausting just from that.
Yeah, because like I'm not one of those people who hates people and like lets people know about it. It's like, man, I'm always really cheerful, and I make jokes and I talk kind of funny when I say things, and because not only is it better for them, it's better for me. It keeps me from hating them as much.
Sure.
Like when I have to ask the hazmat question, like, is there anything liquid, fragile, perishable, or potentially hazardous, like lithium batteries or perfume? And they're just like, what? Like, you sound like you're on a game show or something. It's like, yeah, well, is there? Answer yes or no. Sometimes if I know what they're packing, like if they've put like, books in there, I'll throw books into the hazmat question. I'll be like, they're just like, yeah, I'm just sending these books to my brother. And I'm like, all right, I need you to answer this question. Is there anything liquid, fragile, perishable, or potentially hazardous, like lithium batteries, perfume, or books? And they start to say no. And they're like, wait, what? Books? And I'm just like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, I've got books in there. I'm like, oh boy, no, I'm just messing with you. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I heard, you said books. So I'm just teasing you. Go ahead and hit no.
So I guess while we're talking about,
I
guess while we're talking about jobs, I took a second job now. If we're talking about, yeah, I took a job that I do in the when I'm not at my full-time job. I'm doing like I'm an estimator for a sign company, like signs like for bathrooms and hospital rooms and things like that.
So like the raised signs and like with rails on them.
Yep. As well as the bigger stuff, outdoor signs too, the building signs, just signs in general.
Cool.
Yeah, I needed a little extra money, and so I'm doing that on my own time off hours from work. And when it's very slow at work, I work from work.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, it seems to be okay.
You do stuff like that. It's like it's not a large leap from what you do printing. It's a different animal, but it's not like a large leap to a different animal. There's still some like design work, I'm guessing, and like stuff, right?
Yeah, it does have similarities.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was kind of a natural fit for me, and so I'm doing that now too.
And I haven't really taken a second job, but I suppose now I can say that I'm a paid published writer. I suppose I'm getting a royalty check, yeah, from the DMs Guild. Like I've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. That's I do that instead of like dating. To say that like people who play Dungeons and Dragons can't date them. It seems to take up a lot of my free time. One of these days, well, I don't want to go on too long, but man, I've had a couple of really terrible dating experiences lately. And maybe I'll share them tonight. Maybe I won't. They're kind of sad and funny, but yeah. So for Wizards of the Coast started doing this DMs Guild thing, and this where you can, you write your own material and you just put it there, and you set a price or you set no price, or you can pay what you want. And people can just download your stuff, and none of it's like official material. It's like if they like it a lot, come to you and say, hey, we really like this thing you did, we want to make it official material, we want to buy the rights from you so that we can put it in a book. And you could say yes or no or whatever. But yeah, so I started selling stuff on there because I'm making this stuff up anyway, so now I guess got to clean it up and make it look a little more professional and like fix spelling. And I did a few things that really seemed to like kind of hit well, like just like supplements for like making poison, supplement for making cures in Dungeons and Dragons, just weird shit like that. And like over the course of like a few months, I made like $100 in royalties.
Oh, nice.
And they're sending me like I have it set up so that like they send me a check when I make $100. and they sent it back the other day. I'm waiting for it to come so I can like take a picture of it and hang it on the wall or some shit.
That's very cool.
I'm like, look, royalty check. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not really,
Maybe it'll
really a
grow
job.
and grow. Well,
That's what I'm
who knows?
hoping.
Maybe it'll grow. Yeah. Keep it up. I mean, of course, you like what I'm doing. You're doing a bunch of stuff on your own time, and the fact that you were doing it anyway, and you do it for your own pleasure anyway, makes it really kind of a good opportunity to turn something you like doing into something that may become more than that. Maybe it'll never be full time, but that's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know, anything else going on in our lives? I guess
aside from those terrible dates, I'm going to save terrible dates for no night.
Another episode.
Show number 2 will be Mondo's terrible date night.
That's fine.
We missed a lot of movies over the past year.
We did. We missed a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. We missed a lot of Game of Thrones. We had Stranger Things. We had a whole lot of movies, though. Star Wars.
Yeah, we had Star Wars. Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I didn't love it either. I liked Suicide Squad a lot better, and Suicide Squad wasn't a perfect movie either.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that. I heard that they added a lot of music, like kind of like last minute, to make it different from Batman versus Superman, but also to like jump on that like awesome soundtrack Guardians of the Galaxy bandwagon.
Yeah, I read the same thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I'm interested. I like Aquaman.
Yes,
Aquaman was cool.
He's got his own movie coming, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or is he in? Is it a Justice League movie?
He'll be in the Justice League movie.
Right.
Like he's in the trailer that they've already filmed. He beats up on Batman a little, which is cool.
Yeah.
But this is called Drago Aquaman, not like that. Not that little blonde guy with the green tights, like who talks to fish, and everybody makes fun of. This is a dangerous looking Aquaman, and Wonder Woman was also very kick ass in the movie. And her movie looks good. The trailer for her movie they showed at Comic-Con, Wonder Woman looks like it's going to be a great movie. Like even if the rest of the DC universe is all crap, I think that's going to be a good movie.
I think so too. And you know what else I like? I watch The Flash on the WB, and I like the Flash from the movies too. We saw a little of him in. Did we see him in Batman Superman, or was that just a trailer for Justice League that I saw him in?
We see him. You see him more in the trailer, but he's in that one scene where Batman's like watching like other superheroes, like he's stalking them.
Yeah.
Like the only thing missing from that was like Every Breath You Take, like playing in the background. But yeah, we see him a little bit, and I'd have to watch the movie again. I've only seen it once, but that may or may not have been him in that Batman dream where he kind of like comes back like through that time, and he's just like, don't trust him. And like, Batman assumes that he's talking about Superman, but he's probably talking about something else. But that's like a nod to the comics, like the Crisis on Infinite Earths series, where Flash was running backwards through time to the point where he died, but he kept showing up places and warning people that the Crisis on Infinite Earths was coming. And he stayed dead for a while, the Barry Allen Flash, in the comic universe. He stayed dead for a while.
And that's not the storyline that's about to start this year in the Flash, right? He did go back in time to try and change something, and so something's going to be all screwed up in the DC TV universe this year.
Yeah, like spoiler alert, people. If you're a Flash watcher, hopefully, the new season's about to start, so hopefully you've seen it. But this is your spoiler alert. Yeah, he goes back and actually does stop the murder of his mom. He had a chance to do it once before and didn't.
Right.
And then at the end of season 2, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to save her anyway. I mean, it wasn't as simple as that, but, he does. He saves her. And in saving her, he has caused one of the crises to occur. I think, man, I'm not a big DC guy, I read a lot about them more than I actually read them. It was Flashpoint.
Flashpoint. Okay, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard they're called on stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, DC has this really annoying habit of rebooting their universe very often.
The New 52, that was recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that may have come out of Flashpoint, or did Flashpoint restore that? I don't know. They do it so often. But yeah, so apparently, like, but that's one of those is where Barry Allen comes back. Like, he stayed dead for like a long time in the comic book universes. I mean, I think it was 84, Crisis on Infinite Earths, when he died. And he stayed dead like for a long time, but now he's back. And I think that's what they're going to try and do, the Flashpoint thing, season 3. Man, but I do love that show. I love Harrison Wells so much.
Yeah, it's a good show. I wonder if they're gonna mess around with the other shows as well, because it really should affect Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow as well,
and possibly Supergirl, now that Supergirl's moved to the CW.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, I know they're still doing crossovers. They're saying that the there's going to be longer crossovers now, because instead of just doing like a 2-hour, Flash Arrow, now they're going to be doing a Flash Arrow Legend Supergirl. So like 3-4 hour crossovers, which I'm down with. I mean, I didn't love Legends of Tomorrow. I didn't hate it either, but
I felt the same exact way.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as like Arrow or the Flash. And it felt kind of forced and rushed, and like I don't know, it was hard to get into. I think maybe a slower build up would have been good. Maybe do more stuff in the other shows to like build up to it.
I agree. It had some issues. I did hear that Kevin Smith is writing an episode of Supergirl this year. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
He is, and for what was the name of the? So he wrote a script for a Superman movie, didn't he?
Yes.
Right.
He talks about it in one of his like specials, like one of his DVDs.
Yeah, and there's a whole documentary someone made about the Kevin Smith version of the Superman. Wasn't it Superman Lives? Wasn't that what it was going to be called?
Yes.
Okay, so as an homage to Superman Lives, the name of the episode is going to be Supergirl Lives, but it really has nothing to do with his original script for Superman.
Yeah, that story is just like an excellent explanation of what's wrong with Hollywood. Like, Hollywood makes a lot of awesome movies. You and I both love movies.
Yes.
And a lot of them are really good, and a lot of them aren't. And he does a really good job of explaining with this story about Superman Lives, like why some of them aren't. Like, the things that the producer wanted him to add, like the giant spider. And I can't remember the producer's name, but I mean, he puts giant spiders in everything. In Kevin Smith's story, it's like he's talking about when he saw Wild Wild West. The guy just has a fixation on giant spiders. But yeah, he wanted to put a giant spider in Superman Lives. It made no sense to the Superman story, but the guy just wanted giant spider.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and all the other weird things. And they're kind of doing like a Superman Lives thing with the current thing now too, because they killed him just like he died in the DC verse, killed by Doomsday. They mixed in like a whole shitload of other stories to make that mess of a film. Liked, actually, had it been not Superman and Batman. Like, if it had been like Nightman versus Power Guy, like it wouldn't have been so bad. But like, Batman straight up murders so many people in this movie. Like, not even just like because he had to. Like, he is just driving his Batmobile through people's faces in pursuit of trying to kill Superman. It's not even like he's doing it to save somebody. He's doing it in pursuit of killing Superman. Batman kills everybody. He just doesn't give a shit. And I'm just like, man, I'm not even trying to be a purist about this stuff. It's just like, there's certain iconic characteristics that you have to keep in a film, I think. Like, especially something as iconic as Batman and Superman. And They have not done that. So the movie would have been a lot better had it been like some gritty superhero film made by some dude that wasn't connected to a particular superhero universe. It would have been probably a much better movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
So Star Wars. I know what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask if you've watched the trailer for the next Star Wars, not the sequel. So they're making ancillary movies to the Star Wars, the new trilogy, and the first one's coming out as Rogue One, the story of the rebels stealing the plans to the Death Star. I watched the first trailer, but then I've been avoiding trailers since then. So it's going to be hard to talk about until the movie comes out.
I watched the first and second trailer. I didn't see a huge difference in the trailers, so I was like, I checked to make sure I watched the second trailer, and but that happens often. Mm-hmm. Second trailer is not necessarily too different from the first. Man, but I'll tell you, it looks good. Like, just some of the imagery alone, like, I'm hoping the movie's not bad. I don't think it will be.
I mean, in Force Awakens,
it's tricky.
I mean, we can talk a little about Force Awakens too, while we're talking about Star Wars, since we didn't get to talk about it back then. But again, they seem to have figured out what to do to make them good again. Is how it kind of feels to me.
Yeah. It's just rip off the first script. Which I say jokingly, but also seriously. I felt that was like, that's pretty much what they did. And everybody complained about it, but I was like, no, that's exactly what they needed to do. Like, in essence, they're rebooting it while continuing it. It's like, like, this is not going to be the Jar Jar Binks trilogy. This is fucking Star Wars, and this is how a Star Wars movie starts. And this is how it ends. And yeah, we're going to be doing the same thing, just like every other fucking movie franchise does eventually anyway. But, they were able to tell the same story, I felt, in a fresh way.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's a generational thing. So it's like, I also didn't mind the similarities between like A New Hope and this because, this is the second generation coming in. So why not give them a similar starting point?
Yeah, I completely agree. It definitely has a lot of fan service to us loyal fans, and there's definitely similarities to the first story. But there's enough different, and I think the next movies are going to go in different directions than Empire and Jedi did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even talking about the Rogue One movie. I'm just talking about the main trilogy. I definitely think they're going to be go in a new direction from here, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she was like, "I didn't really like the new Star Wars movie." It's like, you're crazy. She's like, this wasn't my thing. I was like, well, you're old.
Yeah, the only thing my only complaint about the new Star Wars movie was a J.J. Abrams based complaint, and I like J.J. Abrams, but it just seems to me that like J.J. Abrams feels the need, like no matter what movie he's making, he's got to drop a weird looking monster that looks similar to every other movie weird looking monster he does. And in this one we had the Raptors.
Yeah.
Which seemed, that just seemed like, J.J. Abrams is like, man, I'm making the Star Wars movie. It's going to be an awesome Star Wars movie, but I need to throw in my monster. Because he did the same thing in the first Star Trek. He threw in one of his weird Star Trek monsters on the ice planet with Spock. And it was just there just because J.J. Abrams likes to throw in weird monsters, which is cool. But, it gets to the point now where I'm just like, I see a J.J. Abrams movie with a weird monster, and I'm just like, oh, here we go again. He's got the weird monster. The only movies I think he hasn't put a weird monster in yet were his Mission Impossibles.
Yeah. And I guess in retrospect, if I was going to cut anything out of the movie, that whole scene could have gone with the monsters in Force Awakens, I suppose. Although it was fun, and it
was fun,
completely unrealistic fun. Though. They they were super fast, these weird monsters, and they were eating everyone, but not our heroes. Of course, our heroes escaped by the hair of their teeth, skin of their teeth. But it was, it led to a couple of amusing lines, like when Ray saved Finn by closing the door, and didn't he say something like, "Did you see that?" And she was like, "Nope, I didn't see it at all," because but she. That was a funny moment. There's some funny moments there, but that whole part could have been gone. You're right.
But I mean, at the same time, it was fun. I did enjoy it, and had it not been J.J. Abrams, I probably wouldn't even have noticed it. Like, as a thing to think about. I just would have been like, oh, they have weird monsters, because Star Wars has always had weird monsters. But just because J.J. Abrams' name was on it, like, that weird monster stood out to me. I was like, oh, here we go. There's another Cloverfield monster. Segue into we can come back to Star Wars if we want, but I can segue that into Stranger Things.
Cool.
Because man, all right, first of all, here comes another spoiler alert, people. So if you haven't watched Stranger Things yet, man, watch Stranger Things and skip ahead a few seconds. I don't know how many spoilers we'll give away, but this is the spoiler I wanted to say. My Star Wars segue is when we first see you've been warned, the Demogorgon. My first thought was like, did J.J. Abrams make this movie? Like, is he involved in the show? And I had to look, and I was like, all right, he's not, because the Demogorgon was such a J.J. Abrams type monster.
You're right.
Which is fine. Once again, it's cool as hell. But I like, the weird, I don't have a face, but like I have these like flaps that open up, and like, there's teeth in my flaps.
Yeah, I know. I see that. And on another note, Stranger Things was excellent.
Oh my God, was it excellent? Stranger Things is oh man, it's E.T. meets Stephen King. Like if Steven Spielberg had been collaborating with Stephen King instead of George Lucas all these years, we would have had Stranger Things type movies like forever now.
Yeah, it was
perfect.
It was very good. The kids, there were a handful of kids, and they did a great job. And the story was like very 80s. It's supposed to feel very 80s, and it's just really well done. And it's on Netflix for anyone who doesn't know. It's I don't know if it was 12 or something hours.
It was 8.
8 hours, and they've already
mad short.
Yeah, they've already signed on for a second season, and now of course
which is going to be longer.
It is, and there's a handful of more famous celebrities going to end up being in it because they all saw how good it was, so they figured, now you can put more famous people in it.
Yeah. Created by the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah.
Big things I sense from these 2 or 3. It doesn't say how many Duffer Brothers. It's just the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like the Coen Brothers. I think there's only 2 Coen Brothers, just like there were 2 Wachowski brothers, who are now Wachowski sisters.
That's true.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
And I don't know how many Coen brothers there are. I'm going to assume there's 2, but I don't know how many Duffer brothers there are. It's just the Duffer brothers. But yeah, they put together Netflix has been disappointing me with the selection of older material that's available. Not entirely. I still watch Netflix constantly. There's always something for me to watch on the Netflix. But it seems that like a lot of their older material, like, previously broadcast stuff, they're not, I mean, it's getting more expensive, especially, the people who own the rights, they're just like, wow, Netflix, you're making billions upon billions, give us more money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not exactly easy to do. But their original program is so effing good. Like, I mean, at this point, all the original programming that I enjoy on that, a separate subscription, even if I couldn't get those old shows and movies. Like, their original programming, there's enough of it now, and it's just that most of it is that good. It's worth the Netflix price of admission.
Yeah, it is. I've been enjoying I watched the first season of what's the political one?
Shit.
Yeah, the one
Kevin Spacey. Yeah.
I watched the first season of that and I liked it.
House of Cards.
But I never got into the second season. But I love Kimmy Schmidt. That show.
Kimmy Schmidt was awesome.
very funny, and Stranger Things, and what else was there recently? Oh, I watched the first that Adam Sandler Western movie. That was a Netflix original movie, which is Adam Sandler, but it was funny.
I haven't watched that yet. I haven't watched any of the Adam Sandler. There's like 2 Adam Sandler things. There's that Western kind of thing,
That's the one I saw.
and then he made some other thing that I have not watched. I haven't watched either of them, but the other thing, I don't know. It's Adam Sandler with a gun, like
Yeah,
like
like
a modern gun.
You know what else I liked?
Gun.
I also liked they did Wet Hot American Summer,
Yes.
which I thought was good, and Orange is the New Black is good also.
Yep.
I think that's all I watched. Did you watch? Oh, and how can we not mention the Marvel, Daredevil,
The Marvels.
Daredevil and Jessica Jones? Also, both were outstanding. Both
Yes.
seasons. Season 2 of Daredevil wasn't as good as season 1, but it was still good.
Yeah, but it does tie in more to the great mythology that made in the comics that made Daredevil like a great comic. Like Frank Miller came aboard before he went cuckoo, and he did this whole ninja mythology that hadn't been in Daredevil before. He introduced the hand, stick, Elektra.
Yeah.
So, and I think they wanted to like pull all this mystic stuff in now and not like wait too long, because I think that's where the Defenders is going to come in, because now we got Luke Cage coming at the end of this month, which looks awesome as hell. And then we're going to have Iron Fist, which I don't know how awesome Iron Fist looks. It looks pretty good, but we haven't seen too much of it. Like,
Right.
just I've seen very little so far, which is fine.
And we're going to get a second season of Jessica Jones also before the combination movie.
Yeah, and then the Defenders, I think, is going to be some sort of mystic shit, because Iron Fist's, his whole story is like this mystic kung fu stuff, and man, these comics, like Iron Man, not Iron Man, Power Man and Iron Fist. Luke Cage was Power Man. They were very 70s. Like even when the series continued into the 80s and such, I mean, there was just like all this blaxploitation type stuff, all this kung fu type stuff. It was like the Shaft of Marvel Comics. And it was great, man. It's like, it was just good. It was fun stuff to read, like all this kung fu and gangster shit. And it was just good, man. So, but I think like all that mystic shit, I think that's what's going to tie in. I think Madam Chairman Mao, I can't remember her character's name in the Daredevil, but the old Chinese woman who sells the heroin.
Yes,
Yeah, she's got some like mystic shit going on, and I think she's going to tie into the Iron Fist story. And I think that it's all going to tie into like more mystic shit. So I think they needed to get Daredevil into that mystic shit that is part of his like origin, but I think it's what's going to tie his story in with everybody else's.
That makes sense. And you're right that all the ninja stuff was the weakest part of this last season of Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it because I liked the original stuff but one of the great things about the first season was like, it was just dude, blind guy, he's got some superpowers and he's fighting crime. But basically, I mean, his superpowers are just the fact that like, he's got heightened senses. I mean, he's not super strong. He can't, he's not Superman. He's a little more than Batman, but he's not, he's not superhuman. He gets his ass kicked so much. I love it.
I know. I felt sad that the lawyers, all the lawyer stuff storyline, how the group kind of fell apart there, and he let it. I mean, he thought it was to protect them. That's how these superhero vigilante types always feel like they have to protect the people around them by pushing them all away. And I guess that sort of makes sense. But yeah, it made me sad. I liked their whole camaraderie and the office stuff from the first season, and I was sad to see it go for the second season.
Yeah, because I mean the best part of season 2, which ties into the whole lawyer thing, was the Punisher storyline, and they tackled the Punisher storyline, in a way that wasn't never tackled in the comics, and it was phenomenal. And that's really what the whole second season should have probably been, was dealing with the Punisher stuff, and like let that break up the law firm. Well, I mean, it serves a lot to do that, aside from the fact that he was distracted by like, you know, all the ninja shit going on. But I felt that like Punisher should have been like the main focus of the entire second season, and then save that Mystic shit for maybe like, you know, for season 3, and then just focus on that Mystic shit so you can devote your full time and attention to it. And because Shane from The Walking Dead was such an awesome Punisher.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I mean, I didn't like that actor because of The Walking Dead. I have this bad habit of like associating actors with like the first thing I ever see them in, and usually it never goes away. I still don't like Mark Harmon because the first thing I ever saw him in was the Ted Bundy Story. And I don't trust that fucker. He made that summer school comedy. I was like, nope, you won't fool me, Mark Harmon. He's in that NCIS. I don't watch it because you can't fool me. And John Barenthal, however you say his last name, Walking Dead. You know, I was like, you won't fool me, Shane. I'm not gonna like you. And he was so phenomenal in The Punisher. I loved him so much. I want to hug that man. If I see him on the street, I'm gonna hug him. It's gonna be awkward for both of us, I'm sure, but
Of course.
like, you're awesome. You're so awesome, Shane.
What else? TV, movies, books. Yeah, Stephen King had a handful of books.
Yes.
Nothing.
I'm still trying to catch up on them.
Yeah. And I don't think I've read.
He's really prolific right now.
He is definitely writing still more than one book a year. Both his kids writing books too. But I don't know.
Joe Hill is phenomenal.
Yeah. And Patrick Rothfuss, I'm still waiting for the third book in the Patrick Rothfuss series.
Man, let me talk about him for a second. I like the books, I guess. Kvothe is I'm not sure if I like him as a hero at all. I'm hoping the third book redeems him in my eyes by making him like, I mean, I'm guessing it has to consider the current situation he's in, without getting into too much for people who haven't read this yet. But,
yeah,
you know, for people who have read it, I mean, you might know what I'm talking about. Like, he's so fucking blessed. It's like the dude can do like nothing wrong, and everything he does do wrong just works out in his favor. You know, people are against him, but he's just got this like way of just bypassing all that I just don't. I'm not worried about him as a character. It's like I feel he doesn't really have any conflict. It's like people piss him off, and he's just like, you know, or people are out to get him, and he's just like, man, I don't have to worry about that because I'm awesome. He's, you know, he hasn't failed really ever.
Yeah,
like all his failures are also successes. So, and that kind of, but at the same time, I really like the writing. I like the story a lot, but I'm just. And again, considering the situation that he's actually in as he's relaying the story to the person writing it down, I mean, I'm guessing that shit like that is going to happen.
Yeah, I would say so.
But that's my only. But yeah, I'm waiting for that third book too, man.
Yeah, he's a slow writer. The first book took him 15 years to write or something like that.
That's because he's too busy doing his podcast.
Do you listen to that? I listen.
I do. It's a good podcast.
It is. He does a podcast with the creator of Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
The show is called
Unattended Consequences.
Unattended Consequences.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my it's on my list. I have podcasts. And I guess it wouldn't be not the show if we didn't talk about gadgets a little too, aside from Alexa, which we did in the beginning. It was iPhone week.
It was also Note 7 week.
It's amazing.
It's blowing up all over the place. That thing's blowing up all over the place.
I still find it amazing that there's hundreds of news stories about the fact that the iPhone is not going to have a headphone jack, but the Galaxy Note is exploding all over the place, and it's barely a footnote that there's anything wrong with Samsung's phones. So I guess it's because I'm an Apple guy that I feel that way.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I got to say, I mean, I'm not a fan of the idea of taking away the standard, like 3.5, whatever headphone jack. I'm not a fan of that idea.
Mhm.
But most of the people I see shouting very loudly on Facebook are, they're focusing on the airless earbuds, and they're saying like, thanks a lot, Apple, for like making me buy $160 earbuds that I'm going to lose and never see again. It's like, what are you thinking? And I'm just like, man, that's not the case. That's an option.
Yes.
It comes with wired headphones that you would just attach to the lightning port. There's just one thing now. And people are like, well, what if I'm at home and I want to listen to it while I'm charging it? It's like, well, man, get a fucking Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's their goal. Their goal is they see the future as a wireless headphone world, and this is kind of what Apple does. They take a step, even if it seems too early to take that step, but someone has to take the first step. And I mean, this isn't even the first phone that doesn't have a headphone jack. There's been a couple others, Android phones without headphone jacks. I tend to use I use Bluetooth headphones. And I think the reality is, if you get on like a subway and you look at all the people listening to Apple phones, 75% of them are going to have white earbuds in, and the phones are still going to come with white earbuds that plug into the bottom of the thing, same as they did before. Yeah. I think that that's why they can do it. And I mean, and they're putting a dongle in the box, so if anyone has $200 Beats headphones or Harman Kardons or anything that they want to listen to that uses a regular headphone jack, there's a little dongle, and maybe it's a little bit more of a pain in the ass. Just leave it hanging from the bottom of your headphones. It's just it's a 2-inch long or 3-inch long little thing that you can just act like it doesn't exist. It's just hanging off the bottom of your wire.
Yeah.
I don't quite get all the hype, and I think in 2 years, when no phones have headphone jacks, people are going to look back at this and laugh, like they did about the floppy drive and like they did about Ethernet ports on laptops. I mean, those things go away, and as companies make things smaller, it's a wireless world. It's going to get more and more that way.
Now, here's my only problem with the design of anything new for the Apple. I do have a problem with the wireless earbud things. I have two problems with them. A, I think they look ridiculous. In every picture I've seen with people with them hanging out of their ears, I'm just like, man, that looks ridiculous. I don't want them. Because they look ridiculous. Yeah. The second problem I have is the fact that they're not wired together. And I understand why they're not wired together, but I mean, I feel like if I lost the set of earbuds, like, I would be upset. But I think I'd be 20 times more upset if I just lost one. And couldn't find it. I'm walking around with the one, and I was like, God damn it, where is the other one?
I wonder if you can pair together that didn't come in the same box. Like, for example, if you go on eBay and say, I'm looking for a right ear pod, and someone who's lost their left ear pod is selling their right ear pod. I wonder if that will work. That would make sense if it did, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, I have a set of Bluetooth Beats headphones, and they have the cord connecting them. And I'm gonna buy the AirPods because that's what I do. But I see why they're selling a set that doesn't have it, because it's they're smaller. The thing around the back of my neck when I work out is annoying. It annoys me. But that's only when I work out. When I'm not working out, when I get, when I'm sweaty on the back of my neck, I don't want that thing sticking to me. So I think I'd like to not have it there. But for the rest of real life, if they don't fit well enough that they're not going to fall out, then you're right. Then people are going to be in the subway and, or on a bus or or you get bumped and one falls out of your ear and then, gets stepped on or down a sewer and maybe these are first world problems, but
yeah, absolutely.
The idea of that, I like the idea of the separate. I like that you can leave one out and use it as just a like a Bluetooth phone ear thing, so you could just use one at a time, or you could listen to something that doesn't have to be in stereo with just one in and have an open ear to hear the rest of the world on the other side. And I like all of the neat features they added, like if you take one out, it automatically will pause what you're listening to. It has like proximity sensors built in. So it'll pause so you can have a conversation. When you put it back in, it'll start the thing back up. You could also double tap to push play or push pause. And to activate Siri, if you want to ask Siri something, you double tap it. It has a motion sensor in it as well as a proximity sensor. They're neat. There's a lot of technology behind them, and I like that.
See, I mean, I know that if I were to get them, I would lose one. Mm-hmm. Just because that's my own failing. Because like when I come home, I usually throw my phones down somewhere, and then I have to find them later. But at least they're connected. So once I find them, I'm just like, here's my headphones, and I pull them up, and I know for a fact that like I'm going to throw them on my entertainment center when I come in the house, and one day I'm just going to look, and there's just going to be one, and I'm going to be like, Ange, have you seen my other ear pod? She's going to be like, nope. And you know, I mean, maybe I'll find it like when the dog takes a crap the next time because like I accidentally knocked it off the thing. I don't know. It's just, you know, again, like you said, you know, first world problems, and then like, you know, and then my world problems, which are just the fact that I'm unorganized.
Yeah, so maybe they're counting on the fact that people are going to put them back into the little plastic box anytime they're not wearing them, the little Tic Tac box charger thingy.
For me, that's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
I'll only do it when they're dead.
Well, so then you can still. So the one of the things about these is that although they're regular Bluetooth and they'll work with anything that is Bluetooth, including Android phones, they have a proprietary Apple chip, an Apple Bluetooth chip that has other technology in it that's supposed to make it better, supposed to make them connect together better and sync with your phone better. And that chip will be in some of the new Beats headphones too. And the Beats all have the wire behind your neck, so you can get ones like you're wearing, the over-the-ear big headphones, Bluetooth from Beats. You could also get the kind like I have, which are the Power Beats that they kind of stick in your ears and the rope goes around your neck. And then they also have a new one that's their $100 version. That's the kind of the one that has like the heavy thing with the microphones and the battery in it that stays on your neck, and the two earphones that come off of that. So there's other options for people that want the potentially better Apple technology Bluetooth headphone thing from Beats.
This is what I want from I don't care who makes it, as long as it's not Samsung. I mean, if it's Samsung, I'll wait for like a later generation so it doesn't explode in my head. I want them implanted ear canals. And I want to be able to just touch my ear. And yeah, I want to be like a cyborg listening to podcasts and you know, and iTunes and stuff. That's what I want.
And maybe that's the future. That would have to be like a noise canceling feature, so you could turn it on when you don't want to hear outside noise, but turn it off when you want to listen to your thing, but still hear outside noise. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Thinking about getting an iPhone 7. I was thinking about getting the Note 7 because, you know, I like Android. I'm an Android fan. And a while ago, I was even thinking about one of the new Nexus phones, although there won't be Nexus phones anymore. They're going to be Pixels now as they come out. But I was thinking about getting a Nexus phone. And, you know, and I chose the iPhone because one of my biggest problems with the iPhone before was it was too small for me personally. I know other people who are bigger than I am with bigger fingers, and they love them and have no problem. You know, I think our hands are comparable, and you've always been a huge iPhone, you know, fan, and you've never, but me, I was like, I need something bigger. So when they made it bigger, I got the iPhones. But, you know, I kind of missed my Note. And now, you know, with the Note 7, I was like, man, maybe I'm going to get that Note 7. I'm reading specs and stuff, and, you know, I'm thinking I might get it. And then, you know, even before they started blowing up, like, you know, I started reading stuff about the iPhone 7, and I was like, you know what? I really thought I was going to go back to Android this cycle.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to get an iPhone 7.
Yeah. I'm getting mine. I'll have it a week from. I'll have it this Friday.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet, and I still technically have a month left on my contract before I can upgrade. So, but I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my iPhone 6 to my mom.
Okay.
Because she has an Android phone, but she's also got she's got an iPad and she's got a Mac. But the reason she got an Android phone is because when I finally convinced her to come to the future, you know, she didn't want to spend a lot. Um, you know, and I offered to pay for the phone. So, you know, I was very happy that she didn't want to spend a lot. Like, she just gives me a little bit to be on my plan. She gives me what she used to be on her old, like, pay as you go, which is like not much. And I was like, man, just give me that. So, but the phone she chose, because it was one of the cheaper phones, and she's just like, I just need to be able to do basic stuff. Has like it has like 4 gigabytes of memory.
Oh, that's not much at all.
No, and even when I finally got an SD card for her, because I kept telling her, "Ma, get an SD card. You know, it'll take an SD card. Get an SD card." I finally got her an SD card, and it won't put much on there. It's like most of the stuff, like when you try to like put it on the SD card, it won't let you because, you know, whoever designed this, you know, Android version, you know, what do they call them, skins or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, whoever tweaked the operating system for that particular phone just made it so that like it wasn't ever going to be very functional. And I guess that was one of the reasons why it was like cheap, was because it was like, you know, we're not going to give you all this functionality. You only want to spend like, you know, a couple $100 on a phone. Yeah, suffer. So I've been thinking I might, if I decide to upgrade at all, because I also like the idea of not paying for a phone for a little while. But if I decide to upgrade, I'm going to give her my iPhone 6. I think she'll be a lot happier. You know, it doesn't have a ton of memory, but it, you know, I'm a low-level power user. I'm not a high-level power user. I'm a low-level power user, and I have absolutely very few issues with using my phone. If I have too much memory being used up by crap, like, you know, like the cached or wherever it is, you know, I just do that trick where you like go and you try to rent Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
Yeah. So
because it immediately starts clearing all that excess space for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. Right about that.
I use it like at least once a month. Like I'll be downloading and it'll be like, you only have like, you know, 200 megabytes left. And I'm just like, what? I'm just like, and it's all like, you know, all cached stuff because I'm not like putting a lot of like new things on here. So, you know, I just do that. I go to the iTunes store and I say, I would like to rent The Two Towers, please. And they say, man, you can't rent The Two Towers, you idiot. There's no room on your phone. And they just automatically just clear up like 2 gigabytes of data for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to pay for the movie either. You just cancel your transaction.
Yeah, exactly. It cancels automatically. You don't have to remember to go back.
Yep.
It's just hoping you'll remember and come back like before that space is gone again.
That's right. So yeah, so new phones. I also ordered the new watch because there's a new watch too. And I don't know, maybe how long ago was the old watch? Yeah, I guess I had the old watch last time we talked.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, it was. I got it. I think it was April of that year because it's been out for 18 months or something like that. Anyway, I pre-ordered the new watch too. I sold my watch on eBay. I got half what the new one cost, so I always like that.
So yeah, that's pretty.
And that's the problem with giving your phone to your mom is if you tried to sell your iPhone 6. Okay, so my 6S, I priced out how much it would cost to sell oh no, I'm using the 6S now. My 6, I looked up how much I could sell it for on eBay, and I probably could have got $450 for it before they announced the 7. Once they announced the 7, the prices usually drop a little bit on older phones, but
yeah,
you may be able to get almost half of what a new 7 would cost if you sold your 6 rather than give it away. But then your mom wouldn't have a new good phone.
Right, exactly. And, you know, I'd be paying for, you know, when I need her to upgrade, like when I want to get her an upgrade because her phone is completely useless, you know, that's just another phone that I'd be paying for.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she's on, you know, she's a retiree. She's living on a fixed income. You know, she's not by any means poor, but, you know, I want her to have a good phone so that she can, you know, do good things with it.
Mm-hmm.
So which is why I was definitely willing to pay for, like, you know, her crappy Android, because I was like, you know, your grandkids are texting you and you can't text them back because you're like, you know, you're hitting the number buttons like up to 3 times to get, you know, and, you know, and now she texts me from home. She's home. She's a house phone, and she'll text me and she'll just be like, you know, I just watched Sweeney Todd. It was like very disturbing. I guess it's worth a watch though. That's literally like, you know, something. What did she say? But yeah, I mean, she texted me from home, like watching a movie. She knew I was home, but she just, you know, just like a quick little, it wasn't a conversation. She was like, here it is. She's like, because we had talked earlier on the phone. I asked her if she needed anything from the store, and she says, I'm watching Sweeney Todd. It's got, the Johnny Depp fellow. And well, like after I got home, like, a little while later, she just texted me like, what a gory movie. Worth seeing it, I suppose. Catch it sometime. And then I was like, which movie? Because I totally forgot what we had talked about. And she's like, Sweeney Todd. And I was like, Dedoy. Literally, I typed Dedoy. But yeah, so now she texts, and now like when her grandkids text her, she can text back, which is cool, and she can do other stuff. Also, one of the things she was saying to me recently, because she has her iPad Mini, she loves it.
Yeah.
But man, I don't want to say my mom's a little old lady because that's not quite appropriate. It's not quite true. But she's a little old lady, and it's too heavy. She's like, man, I get sick of lugging this thing around. It's so heavy. It's what she uses to take pictures and stuff. So I think like just the iPhone 6. I didn't get the 6 Plus. I think it'd be a good size. It's about the same size as that Android phone. I have an OtterBox case for it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good upgrade for her.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's like Apple last year put out the SE, which is like it's basically the same size as the iPhone 5 was, which is smaller. Of course, it's smaller than the 6. It's 5-inch diagonal.
Right.
And that's their free on contract phone at the moment, but it's very fast. It's got all the same specs as the iPhone 6, maybe even the same specs as the 6S.
The 6S, yeah, because I was looking into it.
Same internal.
When I got her new phone.
Yeah. So if she doesn't mind a smaller phone, you save a bunch of money getting that one for her instead. Probably about the same as what you could get for your 6 if you sold it. Is the cost maybe?
Yeah, I got Ange an SE because she liked her littler phone. She wasn't so sure about the bigger one. This is before she even needed a phone. And so when her old phone finally like bit the dust, like she dropped it and like the screen popped off, sort of, and it was like just dead. Her Apple Care long since expired. We could have gotten it just fixed, but I was like, you're due for an upgrade. Let me see what's up. And yeah, I figured, the SE, it was just the same hardware on the inside as the 6S, but the smaller phone that she liked, she could use the same case that she had before, and so yeah, I got her one. She seems to be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, it's a good phone, good little phone. Too little for me.
Yeah.
I try to use it try to use a small phone once in a while. Jen still has she's still using a 4S, and I don't know how it's. Maybe she's using a 5S. Anyway, even if she's in that size, I think it must be a 5S, and I just don't know how she tolerates it. I can't do it.
Yeah, is this the 4? I think this is the 4S.
It has the glass back. The 4 or the 4S has the glass back.
Yeah, I think this is a glass back.
Yeah, you can tell the 5 had a metal back, glove bottom.
Yeah, this is a 4 then, right?
Yeah, that's a 4.
Yeah, you can. For people listening, I'm holding up my daughter's old 4.
Or 4S.
Yeah, I think it was a 4S. That's what cycle she's on with the 2-year upgrade. She's on the S cycle.
Mm-hmm. This year, that was what was different with this year. So we already had the 6S. So now this is the 7 that's coming out, but it looks almost exactly like the 6 and the 6S. Usually they change their shape and size and stuff. And the rumors say that they're going to change it next year, and that it's going to be a big, big different phone next year for the 10th anniversary of the iPhone. All kinds of crazy rumors, like no top and bottom white section, like all glass, and no home button at all, and all kinds of crazy rumors that we'd never know if they're true for another year now. And I don't think that should keep you from buying a 7 if you want to buy a 7.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to go ahead and buy the 7. I'm not going to wait.
I think the 7's going to be a good phone. It's certainly significantly faster, and the cameras are better, and I'm going to get the Plus because I like the best. As much as I like the smaller 7 better than the 7 Plus, I want the better camera. I use my phone as a camera too often.
Yeah, I think when I was thinking about it, I was thinking that I was going to get the plus this time around. Like I didn't get the 6 Plus because when I was playing with them in the store, I was like, I don't know, this might be too big. And like a year in, I kind of regretted it. Not that the 6 is like too small for me, but like when I saw other people playing with their 6 Pluses, I was jealous and sad.
Hmm.
But no, I just got to see more people using them, and then I was just like, I only played with it for a second at the store, and it felt too big. It really wasn't. It was like, it wasn't much larger than my Note 2, which was my previous favorite phone.
Yeah.
It wasn't much larger than that at all. You know what I hate? I hate phone cases, man. I hate them. Necessity, I got an OtterBox on this, and every now and then, like when I'm at home, like just to clean it up, or sometimes when I'm charging it, like if I'm like really low, I'll take it out of the case to charge it so it doesn't overheat. I don't know if that's like an old wives' tale or not, but and then I gotta hand it to them, man. They make a beautiful phone, and I'm hiding it in this like rubber and plastic thing because when I take the phone out, I'm like, man, I wish this thing was indestructible. I'd love to carry it around just like this.
Yeah.
This thing's like a brick.
I know. I have a smallish. I have the Apple case, and it's relatively thin, but it still annoys me that I love the way the phone feels in my hand so much better. But you know why I use the case is because I have Apple Care, and I get a new phone every year, so my Apple Care never expires. And I mean, if I break the phone, I get a new phone or whatever they do. They change the screen. Right. But I have a dashboard magnet thing, and to use the magnet thing, you got to have a metal plate, and it's between the case and the phone. And so it just pops right into my dashboard, and then I could use the GPS and stuff right onto my. It sticks in like a one of the air conditioner vents, the little magnet thing. But I'm thinking I'm going to change for the next one. I like the new 7s have this really cool matte black colored version, and I really like the way it looks. And I think I'm going to get the kind of dashboard thing that clamps from the sides rather than the magnet, just so that I can use it without a case.
Cool.
Yeah, it's silly, but
no, man, I would love to. I've tried one of those. You know me, man. I my car's 1988. It's officially almost a classic. In any car I've ever owned, because I always own older cars, I can't use any of those vent ones. I've picked up a couple, hoping that would be great, but my vents are so so old and used that like it just automatically just like it just drops down. It's like facing the floor, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, you need to get the kind that you actually glue to the dashboard with really heavy-duty two-sided tape, because it's in 1988. You could glue things to the dashboard and not care too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we talked about phones for a half hour. That was fun.
Damn.
I don't know.
We like our phones.
We do. I also
it used to be more interesting when I didn't have an iPhone.
Yeah, there was
like, Android, motherfucker, and you'd be like, iPhone. It was like,
I was going to ask you, do you have your mom's iPad set up to do iMessage so she could text from her iPad if she wants to? Is that too complicated?
Not so much that it's too complicated. It's just that she doesn't want to do really anything that fancy with it. She just mostly uses it for taking pictures, emails when she's on the road. Yeah. I try telling her other things she can do. Man, I'm trying to get my mother to listen to podcasts. And I'm just like, you understand? I mean, her thing is like, when she's like, well, I don't know if I have time to sit there and watch, and because she used to watch our podcast whenever we would record, because we record live and stuff, and she would always, I don't really have time to sit around watching podcasts. And I was like, no, Mom, you're missing it. You don't watch them. You watch me and Joe because you're my mom, and you're interested in the live show. I was like, you listen to it and you put it on your iPad. It's played over the speakers, played over, your headphones, anything that you want to listen to about, like, you're going to find it. If you want a podcast about the Catholic catechisms or whatever you call those things, man, it's there. If you want to listen to a podcast about Van Gogh for weeks on end, you can find them. She if she gets it, she's just like, yeah.
Yeah. And I could see the iMessage getting confusing. People trying to text because it wouldn't be the same as her Android phone. I mean, if she had an iPhone, then it could be the same phone number, the same iMessages could be going to both places.
Yeah.
But with it this way, she'd be getting messages in 2 different places from 2 different addresses, and it's complicated.
See, and that's the other thing I like about the idea of giving her my iPhone or her eventually getting an iPhone is my mom's always been, a Mac user. She's used a Mac like in her professional and personal life, forever. And she likes her iPad. Like when, the iPad's not too much different from OS X. Like, it's very, similar. Like, so it's kind of intuitive for her. There were some things we had to kind of figure out, explain to her. But, one of the beauties of like giving her an iPhone is like it's exactly the same operating system that she's gotten used to on the iPad.
Yeah, and if she's using it for pictures a lot, she could take pictures on both gadgets and they sync to both places and back to her Mac. She could
not back to her Mac.
No.
Nope. Her Mac is too old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried setting a lot of that up for her because, like, she was even on her iPad. It's like she was running out of room for pictures, and I said, well, why don't you just like set it up so that they just go like go directly to your iCloud, and I said no pictures are stored on my phone. They're all there for me to download later if I want to pull one up, but I can view them all, but none of them are actually on my phone.
Right.
So I tried to set it up for her, and basically her Mac was like, "What, Sonny? No, I don't do that." She's got one of the later. She doesn't have the latest software because she can't update her to it. But I think she's got
Mountain Lion.
I think she got Mountain Lion. I think Mountain Lion is like the oldest thing she can put on her Mac. And she's been talking like eventually she's gonna have to get a new one. This one's very old. It's running very slow, and then we'll be able to do more interesting things with her. But yeah, at the moment, yeah. And I was so disappointed. I was like, oh, never mind. I lied to you. I said I can do it, but you can't.
Yeah, I bought an iPad Pro. I have an iPad Pro now.
How's that?
It's huge, right? I bought it for the sign job because I need to be able to read blueprints and mark them up. So the iPad Pro you could get a stylus for, and it has a keyboard, and so and I could pull up I transfer the blueprints over to it from I use Dropbox to transfer blueprints onto it, and then I can mark up the things I need to mark up on there and make my lists, and I can do side by side blueprints and notes app, and I can take notes on what I'm looking at, and everything syncs back to my Mac, and all the notes sync back to my Mac. It really works well for me. I love it. But I thought I'd be able to then give JoJo my regular iPad Air, whatever it is, Air 2 I have. But it's too big to read books on, and I use my iPad a lot for reading books when I'm laying in bed and I'm reading. If I fall asleep and it falls on my face, it knocks me unconscious. Rather than my little iPad is just it's just a regular iPad. I'm exaggerating that a little, but it's too heavy and bulky to comfortably read a novel on it. I think it's great for watching video if you're going to prop it up somewhere, and it's great for what I'm using it for email and multitasking with 2 things on the screen at once. And I Apple Pencil I use my Apple Pencil, $100 for a pencil, a plastic pencil.
I got one in black. It's not really an Apple Pencil though. It's a drawing stylus for this like cool drawing thing I have that I draw on.
Cool.
Yeah, but you showed off yours, so I was going to show.
You have a Cintiq? Those things are like those computer. It's a little tablet that connects to your computer, like a.
Yeah, it's not too little. Like I almost got a smaller one. It's a Huion.
Okay.
And it's like it's fairly large. But yeah, it hooks up to the computer. I've got like some different drawing programs on here. It's pretty good. I don't use it as often as I thought I would when I bought it, but I still use it and I enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah, if I drew
this little pen that comes with it.
iPad Pro is very good for drawing. I mean, the stylus thing is pressure sensitive. You can make thick and thin lines with it. You can shade with it. So it's very cool. But I don't know how to draw, so I'm using it for not quite what it was intended.
Right.
But I love the thing.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm gonna go back to Google here for a second. Love my Chromebook. I got a Chromebook. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Asus Flip. The main reason I got the Asus Flip was because you can install Google Play apps as opposed to just plain old Chrome apps.
That's better.
And, one of the things that I love about it is the fact that it's cheap. The price point, I think I paid I paid just under $200 for it.
That's cheap.
Yeah, and I got my daughter one also for like $160, like a nice one, big, because the laptop that she was using stopped working, and it was really old, but she doesn't do anything on this thing. She uses it for internet stuff. She's not programming. She's not doing she's not running high intensity type programs. She's not playing WoW. She's Skyping people and things like that. So I was like, man, I said, you just need this for internet, right? And she was like, yeah. I said, all right. So I got her Chromebook, and I really liked it. So I got myself one. But like I said, I got the one that, was compatible with the Play apps. Partly because I have all these Play apps that I paid for and I don't use anymore. So it's now I can get them back. But also Dungeons and Dragons. Full circle, we're back at Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of cool D&D apps that now I can use on this little laptop device. I put it behind my DM screen, and it's pretty cool.
No, that's great.
But I love a Chromebook. A Chromebook is good. I love it.
I've been tempted to get one just to try it, but because I had a MacBook Air, the little one, the 11-inch MacBook Air. But when I moved, I took the desktop and Jen kept the laptop. So I haven't had a laptop, and I was thinking about getting myself another MacBook, and then the iPad Pro came out, and I had the new job, and I was like, you know what? I was like, this makes a lot of sense. It's close to being a laptop. I could still use it to connect to my printing shop computer, and I could still use it to control the printing shop's computer. I don't need a laptop for that. The keyboard is comfortable enough that I could actually do a decent amount of typing on it for the printing shop job as well if I have to do work from the road. So that's why I got that for myself. It made a lot of sense to me. But now I have Joe on. JoJo's using a really, really old. You can actually see it on the table behind me there. He's using a really old MacBook that.
Oh my God, that thing's got to be at least an inch thick.
It is. It's an inch thick, and it's plastic white. I mean, it's it's a good 10, 15 years old, and he uses it only for Minecraft.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the only other laptop in the house. But I thought about getting a Chromebook just for kicks. Joe will probably end up with one from school at some point or another, because I think a lot of schools are giving out Chromebooks rather than iPads because they're more disposable, cheaper to replace.
Yeah.
So a lot of schools tried iPads and found that they were useful and good, and they're getting better at school stuff, but they're very expensive when a kid drops it and breaks the screen.
Yeah, the Chromebook, you can get. I don't even understand why anyone would get a Pixel, one of those $1,500 Chromebooks. I'm like, what the hell? It's the same thing. All right, it's not the same thing, but at the same time, it's the same thing. It does the exact same thing as the one that I got for about $200. I guess it's got higher resolution, and I suppose if you need that resolution, I guess that's good. I don't need that kind of resolution.
And yours has a touch screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I flip it entirely, and it's a tablet. It
used to be that only the more expensive ones had the touch screens, but even now, even the cheap ones now have touch screens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another reason why I chose the one I did, was also because I can I can completely flip it around, and I can use it, as a tablet, which I don't do. I hate it as a tablet, only because when I flip it entirely around and I'm holding it, I feel the keys, and it's just, man, the tactile feeling of pressing the keys while I'm using a tablet is just weird.
Yeah.
This is weird to me, so I don't really use it like that. I suppose there's probably some sort of case or cover I could get to slip over that, so I wouldn't feel like I was weird.
Probably.
Yeah.
How about on that note, we call it a show?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've gone on long enough, folks.
Yeah. We filled you all back in on some shit. And you could find all our old episodes, and you could find you can subscribe to Not the Show at nottheshow.com. And you can find me at Ojoey on Twitter, and you can find Mondo at Dharma Bob. And you can find the show at Not the Show if you're a Twitter person.
Yeah, and subscribe to the show. Leave us a iTunes 5-star rating and review, and check out our other podcasts. The American Gods Cast at AmericanGodsCast.net. And if you want another way to contact Joe and myself as well, you can follow us on Twitter at AM Godscast. That's extraneous. You don't need to do that. Just Not the Show is fine. At the Not the Show. I don't know what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. And also over on Discordia 19, you can follow us. You can subscribe to the Beamcast, our Stephen King podcast. And these two also subscribe. Please, ratings, reviews, feedback. We know we're awesome. We need someone else to validate it, though.
Yeah, that's how we are. All right. So good night, buddy.
Night, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.